Space. Is it really the final frontier? For one student at Western Washington University, it's just another day in class. We hear his story tonight on Investigation Tonight. We're here with Buck Stevens, a junior at Western and a 2-year veteran of the Space Administration program. Buck, tell us about the Space Administration.
Well, I first heard about it at summer start. And they told me that physics and astronomy majors have the opportunity to go up on missions with the Space Administration. And I've wanted to be an astronaut ever since I was a little kid, so I signed up.
So, what's the application process like?
Well, there's both a written test and a physical test, but only the top 5% of combined scores get interviewed.
Wow. So, what missions have you been on?
Well, I've been up twice. Once for some maintenance on the International Space Station, and once for the launch of the Kavike television satellite.
So, of those missions, on maybe a percentage scale, how much of your time was spent fighting communism?
Well, ballpark estimate, I'd say 98 to 99%.
Good. So, tell us about your rocket.
Well, it's a 4-stage Saturn 17 rocket. When we clear the stratosphere, it will break right here, and a second rocket will propel us into high orbit.
So you're saying your rocket has rockets?
4 rockets, actually.
Wow. So, what missions do you have planned in the future?
Oh, only the higher-ups know about that. But there's supposed to be a big one coming up soon.
Think you're going to be on it?
God, I hope so.
Well, Godspeed, Buck. Good luck.
Thank you.
We're here with Bertha Yarmouth, General Manager for the Space Administration here at Western. Bertha, do you have any plans or projects that you want to announce?
Well, I'm pleased to announce that we have our first lunar landing scheduled for summer of 2008.
Well, hasn't that been done already?
Sure, but not by a university. It's a symbolic thing, really. If we can beat UW's space program to the moon, Western will be able to recruit professors and students that are way out of our league at this point, and secure millions of dollars in additional state funding.
Well, it doesn't seem like you're running a very cheap operation right now, so where does all your funding come from?
A decent portion of it comes from grants, but most of it comes from the student technology fee that each student pays along with their tuition. The computers at the school are actually very cheap. The rest of it goes to fund our program.
Well, I think if you'd ask the average Western student, they wouldn't be able to tell you what the Space Administration does. Do you have anything to say about that?
The title Space Administration is a bit misleading. I think students see it and assume that our function is to appropriate university space. We're kind of flying under the radar at this point, but...
They're re-entering now. We gotta go.
Excuse me. I'm sorry. Authorized personnel only.
Yeah, it's hard. We have to be in our best physical condition. When we're on top of that rocket, we feel over 10 Gs during liftoff. And if you're not in perfect physical condition, you'll pass out.
Wow. Does the university compensate you for your work?
Nope, we're all volunteers. We do get 3 credits a quarter for being astronauts, which is kind of a rip. I mean, we're up there for weeks, sometimes months at a time, risking our lives, and all we get is a lousy 3 credits. We've lost so many good people up there. I guess the reason I do it is to give people a reason to be proud to be Vikings. And I think the lunar landing will do that.
3 weeks after we filmed the interview segment with Buck Stevens, he flew up on his 3rd mission. High up in the upper atmosphere, his rocket developed a fuel line leak and exploded, killing the entire crew aboard. Buck Stevens was a true American who will live in our hearts and minds forever. He chased the sun like Apollo, challengered our expectations, and will be buried on the banks of the Columbia. This episode is dedicated to him and his memory. May he live on forever. Good night, America, and good luck.